Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing a 50-piece limited edition released for the 2021 model year from H. Moser Cie of Schaffhausen. This is the Pioneer Tourbillon Mega Cool, and it is all of those things. 42.8 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel. The sports watch tourbillon is 14.4 millimeters thick. It is 51.1 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and it is 22 millimeters between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters circumference. You can see it wears well. The watch is broad. There's no getting around that. But it's not as thick as you'd think, especially since a lot of its thickness is that domed sapphire. It does slide quite easily under a cuff. For something this large, it's remarkable in that regard. Taking a quick look down the barrel, I'll do my best to show this. It wears well on my wrist. It really doesn't feel too large, even if on camera it appears a bit outsized. I think you can wear this watch on a wrist as small as mine, which is 16 centimeters circumference, wear it with pleasing aesthetics and also good secure fit. And you can see that the curvature of the lugs downward helps to mitigate against fit issues. Strap's a lovely one. Vulcanized rubber, very soft. It's perforated to vent the wrist. You can see on the underside it has a molded in pattern. It is a Moser factory strap in brand new condition. And in addition to having some character molded into it, you can see there are striations even on the strap minders. It's attached to a steel Moser pin buckle that features polished satination and then coined ridges on its flanks. You can see Broggioli made that piece for Moser. And the strap itself is drilled relatively close to the case. So you can see how the lugs are drilled close inboard to make this large watch wear well. One of the reasons I said it wore so well on my wrist is because the pivot centers of the strap were actually quite inboard at the end of the lugs. But if you do that, if you do drill the lugs close to the case, you need to use a curved spring bar so there's no impediment to the motion of the strap. Now the case is handsome. We saw that coining on the buckle. Well, it's echoed in the relieved and coined flanks of the case. Moser machines then hand finishes its cases. This is how it manages to get such outstanding depth and profile, regardless of whether you're looking at an Endeavor or a Pioneer. And so you can do this when you're working in smaller volumes. Moser making about 2,000 watches a year. We have satin finished lug hoods, and you can see there's a little character line down the center of those lug hoods. The flanks of the case are polished. The coining is really quite inset, as you can see, and then the bezel is shallow, domed, and polished. We have an inverse conical matte finished media blasted Moser branded crown, screw down crown, 120 meter water resistance. A material called Globalite, which is a luminescent ceramic, is used on the dial. We'll get a look at that. And now we'll take a look at the dial itself. Outboard, there's a black flange, and then inboard, you can see it's almost black. This is their Blue Lagoon dial. The watch is called the Mega Cool, and it does have a nice cool aquatic look to it. At center, we have that bright teal or turquoise with a sunburst metallic. The fumé or smoked fade from bright to dark is a Moser signature. We have all applied rhodium-plated steel indices cut on diamond-tipped milling tools, giving you a lot of personality as the light strikes the dial. The hands at center are perfectly flat and polished to act as mounting points for those Globalite inserts. Then we have a very subtle lacquered Moser logo on the dial, because Moser has always been discreet about its branding. However, it is not discreet about its tourbillon, and I'm glad for it. The tourbillon is a beautiful piece and distinctive. You can see it's a flying tourbillon, so there's no upper bridge to block your view of the mechanism. And then it's also a 1-minute tourbillon, so it effectively acts as the seconds hand for the watch. Now, taking a close look, you can see that it is beautifully hand finished. Well, all of the watch is competently decorated. The most elaborate hand finishing is reserved for the components of this tourbillon carriage. Being a flying tourbillon, pivoted on only one side, it needs solid bracing, so its base is actually mounted on ceramic ball bearings rather than a jeweled pivot. You can see that the balance is free sprung, but what really sets it apart isn't just that it's free sprung for shock tolerance, but that there are two stud holders, two 180-degree opposed flat hair springs right across from each other, so that when gravity causes one, by virtue of its position, to speed up the timing, gravity will cause the other by an equal and opposite margin to slow down the timing. Thus, this tourbillon instantly correcting error due to gravity, reclaiming much of the original Abraham Louis Breguet chronometric intent of a tourbillon mechanism, and it beats away at an aesthetically pleasing slower rate of 21,600 vibrations per hour. The movement is handsome on the reverse side. This is manufacturer caliber. HMC 804. The 804 is a good-looking movement. Moser makes the escapement, the hairspring, and the balance in-house. In addition to things like the bridges and the plates, they make the tough parts, not just the easy ones. We have a magic lever-style pawl-based bidirectional winding system. Bidirectional winding with unlubricated ceramic bearings for high efficiency at center. You can see the barrel arbor is fixed by a golden chaton held in place by screws. Screw heads are all black polished, so we have this three-quarter style bridge and the chaton to remind you that Moser was once an esteemed maker of pocket watches, and that's evidence here. You can see also in evidence double-crested Côte de Genève, which are distinctive of the brand. We have a satinated crown wheel core. You can see that the crown wheel teeth are actually polished. All screw heads are also polished. We have a satination on the edge of the bridges, and then the base plate has been media blasted, so it's quite competently decorated and quite elaborately decorated on the dial side. A memorable watch that's discreet about its branding, but bold about its horology. You can reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And know this, in spite of the power-intensive tourbillon, this watch has a 3-day power reserve.